Hello everyone, welcome to this absolute beginners HTML crash course. My name is Peter Kimegi and you're welcome to the channel. So in today's video we'll be dealing with HTML. It's a crash course, so we are definitely not going to be looking at everything that has to do with HTML in details, but we're going to pinpoint on the most important things to get you started as a beginner. As you can see, the video is majorly for beginners, so or anyone who just wants to refresh their skills when it comes to HTML, because I'm aware that some people, while they were learning, they left it, and they are beginning to come back into development, and they want to start from the beginning to just refresh their skills in the whole program. So this is an absolute beginners course. So if you're an expert, you should consider watching some other video, or if you just want to watch this for educational purpose, that's not a problem. Okay, so I'm going to go right into the slides now, and before then, if you are just joining this channel, definitely I would want you to give a like to this video and leave a comment. Tell me why you want to learn web development in the comment section, and if you have any question, if you have any question and opinion, you can definitely drop them in the comment section as well. I'm going to respond to them as quick as possible. And this is a series in the web development series that I will be starting, and after now I will be creating an HTML CSS crash course, so you should do well to watch out for that video. So this is going to be an amazing time learning web development on this channel. Okay, so without further ado, let's just go into the slides. Okay, so before we begin, I would like you to just understand some basic things so that we don't get ourselves mixed, and we don't get ourselves just repeating the same thing. So this is a beginner's tutorial. Like I said, it's a beginner's tutorial. It is specifically made for a beginner, that person who does not have any knowledge of CSM, HTML, or that person who has a little bit of knowledge but wants to expand on the knowledge, or just wants to refresh their knowledge of HTML. So there is no CSS in this video, so we are strictly going to be using HTML. And for the better part, I might, just to explain some concept, I might be using a little bit of CSS, just to style it a little bit for you to really understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so this is strictly going to be HTML5. We have different versions of HTML, but definitely the most recent HTML is HTML5. We have HTML1, 2, 3, 4, and up to 5, and HTML5 is the most recent of HTML. So this is going to be strictly written, and this video is going to be strictly on HTML5. So if you probably have some interest in HTML4, and I think definitely everyone should upgrade to the latest trend, so this is going to be written in HTML5. And then I'll be coming to the slides and examples just to buttress my points and all that. So you should expect that in this video. It won't be all coding. We are going to really explain some things. So this video might be an hour long, or maybe an hour 20 minutes, but just bear with me. This is majorly for you to learn, so I'm going to be explaining a lot of stuff here for you to really get what I'm trying to pass across. So follow along with patience. Like I said, follow along with patience. It takes patience to learn programming, or to learn anything at all. You need patience, so be patient with me and let us move on. So what is HTML? HTML is short for hypertext markup language, and it has no logic, so it's a markup language. It's not a programming language, and this has really caused a lot of arguments among students. They ask if because when I was also starting about 6 months ago, I wanted to know what is HTML, is a programming language. But the truth is, HTML and CSS, they are not programming languages, they are markup languages. They are so basic, they require no logic at all. When we dive into the coding section of this video, you're going to really understand what I mean by it. So HTML has no logic, so it is not a programming language, it is a markup language. However, it is a good place for anyone to start who is just coming into the industry. So markup means that markup means that with HTML you declare what is presented to a viewer. So the computer is basically going to understand what you're declaring to the viewer. So it is majorly a front end tool. It's not a back end tool, it's a front end tool. So markup means with HTML you declare what is presented to the viewer. So it is basically targeted to what the viewer is seeing. So you are structuring content, you are putting the things where they should be, the header, the footer, the sidebar. You are trying to just structure everything for the viewer to see on his device, his computer, or something. So it is the building block of the web. Yeah, like I said, if anyone is going to consider coming into the programming industry, or is at all going to consider programming as a career or as a hobby or as anything, who is just new, like who is totally new, you do not have any experience before now, I would really suggest you start with HTML. The reason is that because it is not a markup language, because it is not a programming language, it is a markup language. And since you do not have any knowledge at all of programming language or of programming, when you use HTML, you are kind of accustomed to the world of programming, because you use indentations, you use, even though you don't use functions and all, but you indent your stuffs. You close you have an opening tag, you have the closing tag. It's more of teaches you how to think like a programmer in a basic sense. So I literally advise anyone who's just coming into the programming industry or just wants to learn programming to start with HTML. And it's not something you would learn for 6 months. In a matter of 1 month, you with consistency, some even learn it in less than 2 weeks. So that's just what it is. So it's the building block of the web. Every website you see out there is structured on the foundation of HTML. In fact, JavaScript has no foundation without HTML, because without HTML there is no event listener, there is no query selector, there is no there's literally nothing without HTML. So it is the building block of the web. Excuse me. So what we need to start, you need a web browser and you need a text editor. So by web browser I mean you can choose between one of these. You can choose Google Chrome, you can use Safari if you're a Mac user. Then if you're using the Mac Microsoft, the Mac OS, you can use Safari. Then you can use Google Chrome, which by far I'm sure a lot of you will be using because it's kind of popular. Then we use Mozilla Firefox. You can use one of the three, so just choose one based on your preference. Then for a text editor you can choose VS Code or Sublime or Atom. For this tutorial I'll be using VS Code, even though I kind of love Sublime a lot because of how easy and lightweight it is. But for this tutorial I'll be using VS Code. So you can either choose one of them, but you need a web browser and a text editor. The web browser majorly is to check the result of what you are writing in your text editor. Okay, so when we are creating an HTML file, a file must end with the .html extension, just like any other file on the web. If you have an image, it either ends with a .png or a .jpeg. If it's a Google Docs, it definitely ends with a .docs extension. If it's a PowerPoint slide, it most definitely must end with a .pptx extension. So basically the extension is trying to tell our browser that this is an HTML file, and if you're going to be running a Python file, then you have to end with a .py. If it's a JavaScript file, it's going to be a .js. So basically, like I've just said, the .html extension has to be the end has to be attached to any of our files. So the file name .html. So because it shows that the text or the file is an HTML file when the computer is trying to read it. So an HTML file runs in a browser like Chrome, Firefox. Index.html, this is very, very important. Index.html is the root or homepage of a website. So if you're building a website, the index.html will always be the root display of your website on a browser. You get to understand it when we start coding. So like I said again, it is the building block of the web. Okay, so we want to talk about HTML tag and syntax. So HTML tags, they provide semantic meaning to the content in the page. In other words, they give a kind of meaning to any content you write on a page. For example, we're going to dive into the example in a bit. Just know that they provide semantic meaning to the content in a page. A tag usually comes in pairs, so it comes with an opening tag and definitely comes with a closing tag. So every element will end with the opening tag will definitely start with the angle bracket, and then the closing tag will end with a slash in it, which I'm going to explain in the video as we go along. Then we have the tag syntax. Basically looks like this. So there is a tag name, and there is a content in between it. Then to close the content, there is a slash. That's this red the forward slash. So it shows that that's the closing tag. So we have an opening tag and we have a closing tag. Okay, so some tag closes themselves. So you're going to see a lot of them, and some of them are called inline elements. So we're going to talk more about them in the course of the video. So the HTML page structure, while we're writing our code, while we're trying to set up our HTML file, the HTML page comes with a structure. Basically, every page you load on the web has an HTML structure, and this structure is basically the structure of what it is. Yeah, just like the structure, it means the structure means structure, and the structure basically starts with this doc type. This doc type basically means that we are loading an HTML5. Like I said, we have different types of HTML documents, but this is the latest version, HTML5. If you're going to be loading an a HTML4 document, it is going to come differently. So this doc type HTML is basically telling us that we want to load an HTML document, and not just an HTML document, an HTML5 document. Okay, so we have the opening tag, like I said, of the HTML. So this is the opening tag and this is the closing tag. So this forms the structure. So the HTML start tag and the HTML close tag wraps up everything that will be in the HTML file. So this is basically what the root is. So your HTML document or your HTML the content of a HTML document must be wrapped in the opening tag and the close tag of the HTML element. Okay, I'm going to talk about this lang very soon. It means the language will be written in English, which is an attribute of the HTML. So in the course of the class, we'll talk about what attributes are and how they can be used to spice our HTML tags or elements. Okay, so in an HTML page, we have two structures, or I'll call it, we have two basic elements, and these two basic elements or tags are the heading, the head, and the body. So in the head we have we have the start tag, the opening tag of the head, and the closing tag. And in the body also we have the opening tag and we have the closing tag. Now these two scenarios here, they basically form the structure. So where we have the head and the body, and the names definitely is explanatory enough for you to know what they are actually doing. The head basically is the main functional part of the website or web page or landing page or whatever it is, as long as it is a web page, while the body is that viewable part of the web page. Now the head of this web page, the head tag or anything inside this head might not be visible, but they are the part of the website or the page that forms the functionalities of the website or page. So in the header tag we're going to have the title, and we'll see all this practically as we move along in the video. So I just want to quickly explain this. So we have the title tag. Now the title tag carries whatever you put into it, and it is that small space that is shown at the top of your browser tab. So we're going to dive into that. Then in the body we have the h1 and the paragraph tag. So basically the h1 and the paragraph tag are going to be the visible parts of the body tag, and those are the parts that will be visible in our web page, which you will see in a couple of minutes. Okay, so that's the structure of an HTML file. So we're going to really go into the coding aspect now, so we can actually see this in practice, because enough of talking. Coding is more of practicals than talking, even though you have to talk to understand the practicals and all that. So let's dive into our code. Okay, so let me move out of the slide. Okay, so I have opened my text editor. Like I said, we need our text editor and the browser. So I've opened my text editor, and I'm going to open a folder now, and then my desktop, I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call the folder HTML sandbox. Okay, so we're going to drag this into our VS Code. Okay, so we have our HTML sandbox. Now, like I previously told you, that you can use any text editor you want. That I'm using VS Code for this video does not mean that VS Code is the best, even though it is gaining popularity in the industry. But you can as well use different other types of text editors. So it's your choice to just pick the one. Basically, what I would just advise is for you to have a go at everything, so you choose the one you're comfortable with. So let's create our first file. So our file is index, like I said, .html. So what this does is that it tells the browser that we are trying to run an HTML file, and not just any file. It's strictly an HTML file. And excuse me. So like I rightly told you, when we want to start writing our HTML file, there is a boilerplate. Now the boilerplate consists of the doc type. It consists of the HTML tag, that's the HTML opening and closing tag, and then in the HTML opening and closing tag we have our header and then our body. So we are going to write that. And one functionality that comes with a lot of text editors is that they autocorrect, and there are shortcuts. For example, on VS Code now, you just push the shift command exclamation, you push the enter button, and it brings the boilerplate. And like I said, the doc type, the HTML opening tag, the HTML closing tag, then we have the header then we have the body. So you can see how easy it is when you're using a text editor. So and which is why I would really recommend that you use let's move this for now. I really recommend that you use the VS Code, because it saves you a ton of time and it gives you enough room to probably learn some things. Because sometimes when I'm using some tags, I just come here, scroll over this, and I read what it is about, and it gives me more knowledge and more insight to what I'm doing. So it basically teaches you while you are coding. And you can also add extensions. These are some of the installed extensions that I have here. I have the Betty, C++, C Sharp, and all that. So this is a no-brainer for anyone who is coming into the space, and even professionals. So I'm going to name okay, let me explain what we have here for us not to, even though I've explained it before. So like I said, this is the doc type, and this is the HTML opening tag, and this is the HTML closing tag. Now this attribute is meant to tell the browser that will run through this file that this language, the language of this HTML file, is in English. If it is in French, then you could have written French. I don't know if there is a short form of French. If it is in Portuguese, or if it is in Portuguese, probably PR or something, but this is in English, so you just put it there and you are good to go. Now in the HTML file we have two files, which is the header and then the body. Now like I said before, that in every file that is in the body, they contain the functionalities of the website. In other words, when you want to link other pages to your website, when you want to link out of your website, when you want to link resources from probably your style or CSS, which we are going to touch in other videos and all that. So let me quickly explain this for you to have a better understanding. So this meta tag is meant to tell us that we are running a character set of the UTF-8. This is more like the characters that comes with every recent web browser. Okay, and then the next meta tag we have is for compatibility with web browsers. So for your HTML file to be very compatible with any kind of browser that is run on. Then this is responsiveness. This gives your HTML page responsiveness. As you can see, this is the meta tag. Then the name is the viewport. Then the content is the width and device width. This actually tells the browser that any browser or any device this file is loaded on, it should just automatically fill into the width of the browser. Okay, so I don't want, then this title we're going to see definitely in a couple of seconds now what it is. Like I said, it is that small tab, so I'm going to change it now to HTML sandbox. Okay, so let me copy the file. Let me open with live server. Let me see if this will work, or if not, let me just copy the file path. Okay, so let me come here. Okay guys, okay, so we're good to go. Let's start our HTML. Okay, so in the body of our HTML file, so currently we still have our HTML file is empty. So let me just type something. Okay, this is a tutorial. Okay, and save it. Let me come here and refresh. As you can see, let me zoom in. As you can see, we have, this is a tutorial here. So it is a markup language, like we previously said. So because it is a markup language, you can pass any text into it and it will show up, you get. But the computer just sees it as text. It does not give it any semantic meaning. But now if you begin to give every word with a tag, the computer begins to derive meaning and gives the text, the meaning based on the tag that is attached to it. For example, let us start with the heading 1, the heading 2, and the heading 3 tag. So there is a tag that is called the heading 1 tag. Like I said, the shortcuts with text editor. So this every tag comes with an opening and a closing tag. You use the arrow bracket. So we have the heading 1, so I'm going to be using majorly shortcuts here. Just know that the heading 1 starts with this, and when you're closing it, it has to have a slash, a forward slash in it. So I'm going to be using the shortcut here for us to save time and make us just do this quickly. So we have the heading 1, save. So you'll see the big difference that this is going to make, and you can see what it looks like. So the HTML file automatically gives every text a meaning based on the tag that is attached to it. So I'm going to copy and paste this. So we have heading 2 to heading, I think heading 6. I'm going to copy and paste it. So I'm going to save it now, and you see the difference now. I believe you can see the way it is. So this is the heading 1, this is the heading 2, this is the heading 3, this is the heading 4, the heading 5, and so on. So like I said before, the computer is giving this HTML tags meaning because we are giving them a tag. Now let's assume, let me comment this out. Okay, that's also something I'm going to say. So when you want to comment out something, when you want to add a comment, and basically comments are meant to just give your code to make your code readable. So I'm going to comment this out now. It's a shortcut of control /. You get, so I'm going to write just heading 1 here for you to see the meaning that the computer will give to it. So let's reload. You see, it's just a normal text. It's not ascribing any meaning to it because it is not enclosed in a tag. I believe that is explanatory enough. So we are going to move on with the tutorial. So I'm going to add a comment here. For you to add a comment, just put your control. Yeah, so basically for me, I love shortcuts a lot. So what I just do is I write my comment, this HTML heading. I write it this way, and I just push the control /. So basically this is what it is. There's no voodoo in it. It is as easy as it seems. So anytime you're writing your code, make sure or your HTML tag, or just when you're programming, make sure you try to always put comments so that your code becomes readable. And let me zoom out. And it's easy to understand, and for you to also, when you come back, you'll be able to understand what is there. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is the paragraph tag. Now paragraph tag. So let's comment it out. Okay, so this is the paragraph tag, the P. But let me just write it out. We have the P, the close curly bracket, and HTML, the CSS VS Code will just automatically correct it for me. So let me put lorem 40 rather. Now lorem is basically a dummy text, so it's just a dummy text for you to fill your code while you're coding, so that you just put it there for the meantime before you change it. But definitely it's just text without any meaning. So just like the name applies, dummy text. So it is yeah. Now let's save it. Sorry. Okay, there you have it. So that is what the paragraph tag does. Okay, you know what, I want to do something now. I'm going to create a CSS, or let me just create a CSS. So I'm going to add a few to this properties to this, just to make everything come into the center so you get to see. Okay, I think that's okay. Let me make it 70%. Okay, good. So for us to be able to see it so that it won't overflow into where it's not visible. Okay, so this is the paragraph tag, the start and the end. And also I would like to say something now. When you're dealing with HTML, there are two types of elements. We have the inline element and the block element. Inline elements are basically elements that, or tags that can fix, just like the name implies, in a line. For example, if you're writing this code and this text, just like what you see in some blogs where probably you're on a blog site and you're reading a blog post and then you see an italic. Now and you see something like this text in italic, and then you also see it in bold. Yeah, let me leave that for now. Let me just show you. Oh God. Okay, now if you look at the text here, you can see that it is italic. So and you see that it's almost is the same thing here. So that is what is called inline text. They are the inline elements. They are elements that can fit into the line of another tag, and also they do not form a new line. You're going to understand this more as we continue in the class. Okay, so this is for italic. Then we can also make it bold. Now we have the bold tag, and then we just put everything here inside of just put everything inside of the italic tag, and you're going to see the magic now. As you can see, that text is bold here. So this is just, I'm sure you're amazing now. You are surprised and you are getting excited. This is just the way it is being manipulated and done with websites. And then we have a lot of tags. You can just go online to check for different tags, but I'm going to be pointing out a few ones here. For example, another type of inline tag is the strike tag, where you have a text that there's a strike on. So let me paste it here. You're going to see a strike on it. Yeah, so in your on the online stores where you go to browse and you go to buy things, when you see them put a price tag on it and there is a slash on it, I bet you already understand how they did it. Okay, another tag I'm going to talk about is the underline tag. And then the underline tag is basically you. So let's copy some text, put it, save, reload. You can see the magic. Okay, so there are just a lot of tags. So that's just how the basic way to apply tags in your HTML file. So let me put a comment here. Underline we have underline tag, we have the italic, tag. We have the strike through tag. We have the bold or hem, which is emphasize. It's going to do the same thing. No, sorry. The hem tag is also another type of the italic hem. Then the other one is bold or strong. So I believe you already have an understanding of what bold is. It's made to just puff. Okay, let's do it. I don't want to talk. So we have B. So to the bold tag is represented by B. So let's copy everything here. Copy. We put it here. Save it. Come to our page. We refresh. You can see it. So it's basically to show more of what a tag is. Probably you want a text to show differently, to empathize, to show more and have more meaning to the viewers. That is what you are going to use. So guys, I actually thought to make this video a very long one, you know, to cover everything we need to cover with HTML, but I found out that there isn't really much we can cover in one video because I do not want the video to be too long, even though I thought I should make it long, but I on the second thought decided not to make it long so that you can digest everything that will be in the other video. So we're going to start from the point where we stopped now in the next video, and it's going to be shorter so you can have a glimpse of it, and it's going to be a whole playlist on this channel so you can always come back to check. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much. You are my #1 fan. I really appreciate this, and we're going to see you in the next video.